Welcome to Judge Me Not, a safe place to have real conversations with real ass people. Hey y'all, what's up? Welcome to another week. For my first time listeners, hey, how y'all doing? To my returning listeners, what the fuck is up? Welcome to the Judge Me Not podcast. I'm your pretty cool host, EnviiDee. At least I think so myself. Y'all know what it is. Same intro, different week. So we talking about trauma bonds this week. And y'all know I'm in therapy. Y'all know I'm all for therapy. So I've recently left a very long, extended trauma bond relationship, and it's been 11 months. I started off with low contact, and now I'm strictly no contact. And with me going to therapy and walking away from this trauma relationship, um, it's really made me realize a lot of things, especially when it comes like to my wanting to date healthy, to have a meaningful relationship. Um, the biggest thing that I've learned is I've never had a healthy relationship ever. I will say my friendships that I've built in my adulthood, they're healthy. But when it comes to like dating relationships, I've never had a healthy one ever. And I know now through therapy, it's because I wasn't raised under a healthy relationship and I didn't have a healthy relationship with my parents. So as I got an adult, I started to just project um, my trauma either on other people or I connected with people who understood my trauma because they went through the same thing. So, what is a trauma bond? A trauma bond is basically a relationship that is built on relatable trauma. And in return, either both parties or one party becomes the abuser. And it doesn't have to be physical abuse. Most of the time, in a trauma bond within the Black community, it's mental abuse, it's spiritual abuse. And if it's not both people hurting and forgiving each other, it's one person who's doing it, and the other person is kind of just staying in the relationship because they really feel like they can fix the hurt person, or they really don't want to leave this person because they relate on trauma, which is usually abandonment issues or something like that. So the person that's subjected to the abuse kind of just stays there because they want to show this person um, a true definition of love, a true definition of loyalty. So it's like an up and down cycle, right? So what are some signs that you are in a trauma bond, or you have been in a trauma bond, or you may be leading to a trauma bond? First of all, the attraction is almost like immediate. It's like one of those, oh my God, love at first sight. I just can't get enough. Like it is in the early stages, like a love overload. You talk all day, you texting all day, you might be FaceTiming, ain't got nothing to say. You just want to look at each other. Like it's very intense. It feels so good. It is like a honeymoon stage. However, once you get past the, oh, I can relate to you because I went through this, and I would love to have this ideal relationship, but it just never worked out like that. That is the initiative conversation to getting entangled in a trauma bond. You overload on what you've been through, you learn that you have that in common, and then you give off this idea of what you desire. And so then you both feel like, oh, okay, since we've both been through this, but we both desire this, then let's do it. And it's kind of like balls to the wall, all in. And it feels so good in the beginning, right? But then not only is it like an instant attraction, it is very physical. Like y'all have set the boundaries of what y'all have in common and the expectations of how you know it's going to work because you both desire to have this healthy relationship, even though you've never experienced a healthy relationship. You don't want to be an angry person and you feel like everybody, you're just making up all these excuses to make it sound good, right? So you feel like you've related so fast, so good, you immediately after rush into the physical attraction. And when it comes to trauma bonds, the sex is amazing. The sex is one that it is just like you don't even have to introduce that person to your body. Somehow they just know. Because what a lot of people fail to understand, a trauma bond is an entanglement of two hurt souls. Energy recognize energy. You attract what you are. So if you're not doing the healing, but yet you are in search for something, you are attracting a broken soul just as you are. So that's why it's really important to do the work so you can attract what you desire. But if you out here broke, not doing the healing, fucked up, but you want that companionship, you're going to attract the fucked up individual. So you get to this intense false love overload and then you jump into the physical and the sex is amazing, and a lot of trauma bonds come with a lot of exploration of one's sexuality. If it's not on a mutual standpoint, it's either one person introducing the other person to a heightened sexual appetite or experience or vice versa, and it just kind of becomes a full package in the beginning, so you feel y'all relate on the trauma. Y'all have this idea of what y'all want to be, and the sex is amazing. This is all setting an addiction to each other because you don't have to explain this person how you like to be touched, yet they get it. You don't have to explain why you act a certain way because they get it, because they've been through it, right? And you both have this idea of what you're working towards. So you in La La Land, and it's amazing. However, as time go on, the relationship starts to become a pattern. It's like a roller coaster. It has its highs, it has its lows. Once it's good, it's good. Once it's bad, baby, it is bad and it is extreme bad. And that's because again, a trauma bond is the main foundation is related trauma. Hurt people. So it's just a cycle of you hurting me hurting you, me forgiving you forgiving me. And it's just up and down, up and down, up and down. And it becomes an addiction, really, because a lot of people try to step away from the trauma bond and they try to date without doing the work on themselves or without doing the healing. And then they will find any excuse not to work something out that's healthy because, in their mind, the relationship that they have built, even though it may be toxic, when it's good, it's good. This person knows your body. You gonna have to explain why you move a certain way to a whole new person. So it's easy to get caught back and go back to that relationship. If you haven't listened to, I think it's my second podcast of Why Do We Go Back? That go back and listen to that. That goes into more of in depth of how it is so easy to get caught up in a toxic relationship or a trauma bond and the reasons why we continue to return. So a trauma bond becomes a roller coaster relationship, up and down, highs and lows. When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's bad. When you try to step away, it's like an addiction. You seem to just not get enough of this person. And no matter how hard you try, you cannot get this person out of your system. Again, once you have committed to a trauma bond, then the souls have entangled. The energy has connected. And then once you get the physical, you are entangled with this person. And it is an addiction and it is hard to break away from it. Another sign is that you just have an overwhelmingly urge to help this person on every aspect. If they're not on their finances, you may want to help them get a better job. You may help want to help them open a bank account. You may want to help, like, you just want to help them because most of the time they have this sob story. and nobody has really helped them through life. And they've been going through it alone. And if you've been subjected to any type of trauma, then 9 times out of 10, you really don't have a support system either. So you know how that feel. So when people get caught up in the trauma bond and they are the person that refuses to leave and they're subjected to most of the abuse or the cycle of up and down, but they're always available, that's because you have the desire to give the love and the support and the loyalty that you crave. So you give it kind of self sacrificial in hopes that that person will see that you're trying to show them something different and they will reciprocate it. But if y'all are both the abusers, then when y'all are good, then you're matching that energy of, I want to love you like I haven't been loved, and vice versa. But the tricky part is neither one of y'all are accustomed to a consistent, healthy relationship, healthy communication, healthy boundaries, so it ain't gonna last. And you see the memes that be like, when you be doing good and your girlfriend start acting crazy or your boyfriend start acting crazy and you be like, oh man, we was just doing good. Toxic! Trauma bond. It's up, it's down, it's up, it's down. Right? But you just feel like you can't leave this person because everybody has done this person wrong and you just really want to show them something right. But again, most people in toxic relationships are accustomed to toxicity. Most people in trauma bonds are connecting because of the trauma, either both parties or one party. So it's kind of like the blind leading the blind. Basically, yeah, it's like the blind leading the blind because you really, the relationship was never built on a foundation of trust, um, learning and connecting on one another. Like a healthy relationship really takes time. It takes time to teach someone how you desire to be loved, treated, and learn how the other person's desire to be loved and treated in order to give an even effort of energy. And a lot of people end up procreating with a motherfucker they don't even know. And then you look back, and now you got a whole human being, and you have no idea who this person is. And as this human being is growing, you realizing you ain't got nothing in common with this person. Actually, you hate this person, but you've already made a long term decision because the sex was good. It be like that, right? Another sign that you are in a trauma bond is y'all really don't talk about important shit. Like for real. Outside of the early stages, once you learn what this person has been through, you may learn about past relationships and stuff like that, but mostly it is trauma stories to explain why you move the way you move, why you think the way you think, and why you desire to be loved a certain way. So you do that, and then you are just like blinded by the amazing sex. You're not talking about important stuff. You're not talking about where you see yourself in 5 years. You're not talking about religion. You're not talking about politics. You're not talking about what's your love language. You're not talking about, okay, so let's figure out why we have this trauma. Let's go to couples therapy. You're not trying to do the important things. You're not even asking, what is your spiritual beliefs? A lot of people will lay down and allow their body to be given and their soul to be tied to somebody who don't even believe in the same thing you believe, which makes absolutely no sense to me. But I'm older now. Child, I done laid in the bed with a whole bunch of atheists and then be upset at myself because, baby, they ain't got not damn good bone in them. Just fucked up all the way around. Can't nobody save them. Lord be with them once they close their eyes because they go into the elevator straight down. But the sex was amazing. So I wasn't worried about that. And then and if you are the person that's always trying to initiate important conversations or ask important questions and they are overlooked or dismissed Baby, you probably in the trauma bond. Yeah. Most people that are in the trauma bond really still have boundaries up to protect their true identity and their true self. Because when you're in the trauma bond, although you relate on the trauma, you still haven't been 100% vulnerable because you skipped the whole part of let me really, really get to know you. Let me really get to know you, and vice versa. Let's sit down and talk and work through this. Okay, you have anger issues. I have anger issues. Well, when we both are angry, let's step away for 5 minutes, write it down, come back. Healthy practices that will improve both people. So if God forbid, my bad, what does God forbid? God forbid. Y'all know what I mean. If God forbid the relationship doesn't work out, when you do walk away, now you have coping mechanisms and you've become a better person to move forward in life, either solo or for your next relationship. Baby, you're not doing that in no toxic relationship. You ain't doing that. Y'all mad at each other, don't see each other for a few weeks, block each other, then you gonna unblock the person, or they gonna pop up, or you gonna pop up. Y'all gonna have some amazing makeup sex, but the underlying issue is never being talked about. You gonna get a kiss on the forehead and be like, "Stop acting crazy." You gonna give him a kiss and be like, "I don't know why you do me like that. You know I love you." Baby, I be having my therapist rolling because that's what I be like. Girl, I don't looking back, I be like, I don't even know what I was thinking. We had nothing in common at all. So, how do you know if you're in a trauma bond? Again, if you don't have anything in common with the person besides y'all past history and amazing sex and maybe history of how long y'all been rocking with each other, then you're probably in a trauma bond. Write down all the things that you desire in a relationship or from your husband or your wife. Write down all those things that you desire. Then check off the ones that you're getting from your current partner. If you don't even have 50% of those checked off, my boy, you're in a trauma bond. Feels good, but it's not real. Wake up. Step away. Because you're just going to end up looking up and it's going to be years past with no real commitment and it's going to be a revolving door of on again, off again, good, bad. And if you have children involved in that, then you are giving them a horrible example of what a relationship is supposed to be. Or if you don't have kids involved, you're wasting your fucking time. What are you doing with somebody that's not gonna get their shit together because you not getting your shit together by fucking with this person? So y'all just wasting time because it feels good. But you're really not healing and you damn sure ain't growing. And then be having a nerve when y'all do be on bad terms to be jumping in the dating pool, scarring other motherfuckers because you ain't healed and you know you gonna go back to this toxic ass relationship. Uh-uh. Let's stop that. Stop that. Let it go. Low contact, no contact. Now, again, a trauma bond is an addiction to somebody. You are not going to be able to do cold turkey. Now, some people, I read that, they change their number, they relocate, they move out of the state, they move out of the city, and that's how they're able to break it. Some other people, it takes a lot of trial and error. Baby, for me, it took a whole bunch of trial and error. That was a 7-year trauma bond. I'm only 11 months away from it. And I still went low contact to no contact. So for no contact, period, no texts, no good morning, no hey, how you doing, no none of that, it's been 4 months. And trust me, anytime anything remotely goes wrong, I'd be like, I ought to call this nigga. If something good goes on, because I'm not dating and I'm not trying to really get to know anybody at this moment until I feel like I'm 100% ready, I'd be like, oh man, I ain't got nobody to share this with. I be having the urge to want to call this person, but it ain't worth it. It's not worth it. Because I do know once I do the work, once you do the work, to really look at your trauma and what you've been through and how it is affecting you and how it is affecting your habits, how it is affecting your perspective, and you do the work, whether it's through therapy, shadow work, church, meditation, whatever. Once you do the work and start to heal, then you will attract healed people. You attract what you are. And as you stay in the trauma bond, you're never going to make room for the partner that you're worthy of. And please understand, I'm talking about a trauma bond in relation to a personal relationship. Trauma bonds can also be in a relationship with family members, especially parents. So everything that I just said, it does apply to family. Trauma bonds with parents, the child is usually the abused. And again, mostly it is mental or spiritual, but it's an on again, off again cycle. The parent isn't mindful of what they're doing because it's all they've known. So they can only love and give support in the manner that they've received. And 9 times out of 10, it's been fucked up. So they're projecting their trauma on their child. So, unbeknownst to them, they've raised you in a traumatic childhood just as they've been raised. So, as a child, you be like, I ain't fucking with you no more. But then you be like, I love you though. So it's like that on again, off again. When they good, they good. When they off, they off. So it is the same thing. And it's an addiction. And it's just like I'm around my family, but I know my family is motherfucking jackass crazy. And it's always some shit and they messy. And I just have peace when I'm not awake around them. But I always find myself back in the mix. Trauma bond. How do you know you're in a trauma bond? Same thing. Write down what you desire from a healthy relationship. Write down who you feel like your parent should be and check off what you're getting in that relationship. If you try to have important conversations, as such as Mom, Dad, you have hurt me because such and such and such. I want to talk about this because it has affected me this way. I don't do this to my kids because you did that and it made me feel this way. If you try to have those conversations with your parents or whomever in your family that you feel like you might have a trauma bond with and they overlook it or it makes them uncomfortable and they don't want to talk about it, trauma bond. Do y'all hear that? I feel like I can sing a little bit. I don't know how it sound to y'all, but to me, it sounded like I was harmonizing a little bit. But I say all that to say, don't waste your time in the trauma bond. It feels good. It feels amazing. I know it is probably addictive. It is so hard to leave. Again, I've been doing it for 7 years, and I'm only 4 months no contact. So I'm just passing on what I learned through therapy. Who's to say that I don't get back on here next month, next week, tomorrow, and be like, bitch, I done fucked up. I done threw away all my work and I done went back because I done had a bad day and I just needed him to kiss me on my head. Right? But right now I'm committed because I know I deserve what I desire and I can have a healthy, committed, monogamous relationship if I do the work on myself to make sure that I can also offer a healthy, committed, monogamous relationship. I know I can't do that until I tap on the underlying issues that make me think and move the way that I do, right? So, baby, you deserve something good. Whether it's in your family, you deserve a non toxic, non stressful. I mean, it's always going to be stress, but if it's 99% stress, you might as well be by yourself. Get you a toy, use your hand, and just go on, call it a day, right? It ain't worth it. You are deserving of a healthy relationship with compromise, understanding, clear, concise communication, and that is built on trust. that will also grow over time. That's not only going to improve as a unit, but improve you as an individual person. So, this is your reminder. Do a checklist of where you are in your relationship. If some of the signs that I said are indicators that you may be in a trauma bond, if they are there, then if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, it's probably a duck. Why are you wasting your time? Why do you feel comfortable in a situation that you know is never going to give you what you desire? But if you want to waste your time, then that's not my business, baby. That's not my business. That's not my business at all. Do you, boo? Good luck with that. I hope it work out for y'all, and all that good stuff. But as for me and myself and everybody that I love, which is everybody that listens to me, I love y'all and I want nothing but goodness for y'all. I want you to be in what you deserve. Just like you invest in your body. If you working out in the gym, you invest in your career. You invest, save your money to get the house you want, to get the car you want, to get the apartment you want, to get the clothes you want. Invest in your relationships. Invest in your mental health to have balance and get the best out of everything in life. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, that's my time. Thank y'all for listening. Bye. Thank you guys for tuning in again to another episode of the Judge Me Not podcast. If you want to keep up with your girl, you can always find me on Facebook and Instagram at EnviiDee. That's EnviiDee. Bye.